How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I am your host, TK Nation 47, joined with Mega Road 31. Hopefully you had a chance to listen to the truck breakdown. Short and sweet for you. We're just talking a little bit about Atlanta Motor Speedway. We have the Xfinity race up here. We have, what is it called? The Nalley Cars 250.
Yeah.
163 laps. All right. So what we talked about, Mega, you want to just go ahead and maybe reiterate a few things if they didn't get a chance to listen to the truck video?
Pretty much they repaved Atlanta, so nobody knows what's going to happen. We were blessed yesterday by rain, so we actually have what the starting position is because they went by the formula kind of like they did last year when they had no practice and qualifying, moving practice to today. So we really haven't seen one lap of anything on this track. So trucks go first, so at least that might give NASCAR a little bit of an indication, but they're going to go out there and practice. We don't think they're going to use the full time to practice because they have to make all adjustments in that period. And then the cars are impounded and then they roll onto the track as is with no further adjustments. So that's what's going on there. And they might fail inspection after it. But the other thing that we might fear too is they're talking about this track being very, very fast, adding banking, new paving. You're not going to have like the 40-minute pothole patching delays like we've had in Atlanta in the last couple of years. So, and the forecast looks good. So I don't think it's going to be too much.
We're all sunny from here on out.
Yeah. So those are all good things. But the problem is this might turn into pack racing like Daytona. So we don't know if it's going to be like a dominating track where like two or three guys are going to dominate, or if it's going to be pack racing where the lead's going to change off and on. People are going to drop back that are racing for title to try to stay safe and then move their way up to try to get stage points, things like that. Some guys might like stay in the back just to let the others feel it out. And if they rack, they can avoid it. We don't know like what pack racing at high speeds is going to look like on a track that's a mile shorter than Daytona and much narrower than Daytona too. Although Daytona with the yellow line rule kind of makes it narrow because they can't use the whole track like Phoenix, where, you know, guys are fanning out 8 wide at the restart and they're pretty much driving down pit lane to try to make moves. It was just absolutely crazy. So, you know, that's where we're at. And the other thing too is if these cars go out there and start turning like 200-mile-per-hour laps on this, are they going to come up with some stupid package during the impound? And I joked in the truck and like put like parachutes on the back or something there, or like a 50-foot like spoiler to try to slow them down. NASCAR is the king of on-the-fly rule changes, so we definitely see, you know, they might make the cars drive in reverse. I don't know, you know, just but safety is the key.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what to expect. We can only kind of guesstimate here for you and just kind of give you guys an idea of what to expect and how to basically just come to a core of group of guys and a lineup idea of how you want to approach a slate like this. So in the truck race, we were handed a couple of nice, you know, easy prime plays. The Xfinity looks a little tougher because, you know, you have a lot of the good drivers starting up at the front. That's going to bring out a lot of different lead changes. You know, I think a lot of guys are going to have different speeds. So it's going to be difficult to really narrow down what you're doing as far as, you know, a stud up here up top. So we're going to start in the back. Let's start in the back and talk a little bit about maybe some of these value plays that we can, you know, pinpoint as far as our value prime core plays. All right. So
because we're going to treat this like Daytona, we're going to build probably from the back, look for place differential more than like pick some DOMs up top. And the other thing too is bankroll management is key here. This is an unknown race, just like we told you with the Clash. You know, it's something new, like we said with Bristol truck or the Bristol dirt tracks last year. We don't know what to tell you, so play to enjoy it while you're watching it, but don't play so much that you're going to hurt yourself and not be able to continue on for some of these more slam dunk tracks that are coming up where it's going to be easier to, well, I mean, we got some road races coming up, but other than that, you know, down the road there's going to be some layup tracks where it's going to be just like printing money. It's so again, we're giving you the best information we can. We're think the build from the back strategy. If something completely changes, check back like right before lock, because we answer questions in here so you can see other people's questions that they've asked. So come back to the video like maybe half an hour, 15 minutes before lock, and see like the questions that people have asked. And if we threw out any notes on like any driver, so hey, you know what, we were completely off on this guy, he's a great play now, or you know what, we thought this guy was going to be a prime, but he's going to start at the back and there's no way he's going to, and you know, his car has no third gear, you know, stuff like that. So we're here to help you.
Absolutely. And always, guys, you can find our Discord chat with all of the real-time updates, no matter what, whatever we come across. And that is, you can find on our website at FSI or www.fsidfs.com, or on our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS.
Final point before we go to the picks is this is another track where you might not use all your salary. So don't try to jam a 10K guy in if you have 10K left. If there's a 6K guy and you need to leave 4K on the table, it might make sense here.
Yeah. Jesse Awuji Motorsports, been really slow. Any thoughts?
He's potentially going to finish last. I don't know if he can stay on the lead lap unless there's a wreck on, you know, lap 1 and it takes out 10 cars and he moves up to 28th. I really don't see, just looking at the bonuses, he's going to, if he finishes where he starts, he gets 3 points. You know, if there's a couple wrecks and he gets up to like 8 points, and you know, he's looking at like 10 or so points. I really don't like it. This team has really struggled this year. Hopefully they get it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of what they're trying to do here. And you know, he has been a good driver, but they just need to really sink their teeth into things and cut their teeth pretty much before, you know, they're able to race with the big boys.
Correct. Next up, we have Tommy Joe Martin's Alpha Prime Racing, the 45, not the 44.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Tommy Joe?
I absolutely love this because he's a good driver. This is the second car for the team. And the reason that he's starting down this low is not because he's bad, but because he hasn't raced the last couple of races. So he doesn't have like the driver points or anything, but they have the owner points to get in qualifying over a bunch of other guys, which actually... I need to unhide this for a second because there are a bunch of guys that are on DK that did not qualify. So do not play Brendan Poole, Chan Fitcham, David Starr, Dylan Bassett, Harrison Rhodes. These guys are in the DK pool, but they are not going to be racing. So hopefully DK has them as out.
For sure.
But just a warning.
Yeah, Tommy Joe, everybody's favorite country music racer, right?
Yeah. And we've always loved him when he's like started like 25th or back. He's the guy that, you know, gets up to the top 20 quite consistently. And sorry, like truck and Xfinity blending together. If you're looking at the right-hand column and saying like, why are there no projections? And I know the header's missing. The left column, if you're looking, that's their average for, I did not do projections this week. That's their average. The second one is obviously their price. Then we have the play. The far right column is what their average running position was at Daytona. Because if this is going to turn into Daytona, I didn't want to look at how they finished because with wrecks and stuff, but how did they run at Daytona? Where, you know, on average, were they running? So you're looking, you know, when he did race at Daytona, he was racing about 25th. So that's going to give you 12 place differential points. So I really like it for the price, even though pricing is probably not going to matter. The car is good. He's a good experienced driver. Everything lines up. So he's the first prime play.
Yep. Next up, we have Josh Williams, BJ McLeod, the 78. This car has been really slow.
Yeah. Failed to qualify multiple times. Inconsistent driver. I'm not super excited about it.
Yeah, me either. Shane Lee, Emmerly Gase. I can't remember who specifically raced in this car last week, but I know they had a really tough time. I'm not sold on the 35.
I think I am. They did well at Daytona. I think it's somebody that could get up and get a few place differential points for a cheap price. So I'm okay with it.
Okay. Next up, we have Loris Hezemans. He had a
Now,
weird
people are going to
qualifying
look at,
moment.
yeah, but
Yeah,
people are going to look at him and say, no, thank you. But the last couple of races, he's been in a Rayum car. Now he's in the
yeah.
RSS car. The car is
Mhm.
much better. So
This is
now we're
Kyle
going to,
Sieg's usual race,
right. So
right?
now we're going to be able, well, Kyle Sieg is also in the race, but
Oh, okay. No, hold on. There's 3
yeah,
Sieg.
yeah, they
Okay, so
really
this is the
expanded this
third
team this
car.
year. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Ooh,
they've all
okay.
been really good. And I think I forget who they have a tech alliance with, but it is a decent team. So
Hmm,
I really,
okay.
they might have like a tech alliance with Gibbs or somebody, but I don't think it's Gibbs. But anyways,
No.
their equipment is good. They are backed by, they have tech alliances with good Toyota racing team. I don't think it's Gibbs, but it's somebody else. Um, so this is a much better car. So this will show us if the driver is the problem or the car. And for what I've seen out of him, like before, he's mostly a road racer, but I think he's going to be able to do enough to definitely be somebody that we consider as a cash play down here.
Okay. Next up, we have Matt Mills in the 5 for BJ McLeod.
This is the best BJ McLeod car, and they have
Yeah.
really been well at plate tracks, staying safe and finishing well and punching above their weight class usually.
Mills was on our radar last week. I don't, I think he had some troubles, but he's going to be back in the pool for sure. Ryan Vargas in the 6.
I
I'm
know this is going to
usually
shock
out.
you that I'd have him as a cash play, but
I
I
was
think
going to
this
say I'm
is,
usually out, but he's starting in 32nd.
yeah, this is the one place where you play him. And
Yeah,
he had a 20th average running position, actually did quite well at Daytona. So
right. He was just qualified too far ahead at Daytona, but now that we have him at the 32nd spot, I don't mind it. Kyle Sieg, probably going to be a big cash play for me. I've been playing this guy every single week. 31st in the starting position, lock and load for me.
yep, been very, very solid.
Yeah. Next up, we have Jade Buford, Big Machine Racing. We were blessed to have him qualify poorly last week. He was a big play for me as well. 6,300 is too cheap.
Yeah, he was top 10 in Daytona. This car has been fast for a single team. I think
Yep.
it's a really good play.
Love both Kyle Sieg and Jay Buford. Probably going to be my 2 favorite cash plays along with Tommy Joe back here. Next up, we have Sage Karam, 7,100. It is the other Alpha Prime car. This is typically Tommy Joe Martin's normal car, but Sage is getting the ride.
Yeah, and he's a decent driver. I think he's been mostly ARCA. But
Yeah.
the car is good, and if Tommy Joe is in this car or anyone in this car, this car is probably a top 25 car. It definitely can move up, so I'm good with it.
Yep. Next up, I really love this play. Kyle Weatherman, 92 DTM Racing. He's had a really solid season, and he can run. His average run is pretty good. I love this play. I think 6K is really cheap. Another one of my favorite value plays here on the slate.
Yep.
Next up, we have Anthony Alfredo. A lot of issues for our motorsports last week.
Yeah.
I mean, he finished. I think he finished like a few spots ahead of some crash drivers, but this guy couldn't even get off pit road last week. And then the week before that, I think it wasn't Brett Moffitt. Who was it? The other R Motorsports guy,
Burton.
Jeff
Yeah,
Burton.
you said to me they shouldn't have 3 cars. They should go back to 1, which they might be stretched too thin. But he's a former Cup driver, and I think having a chance to have the time off and like fix the car, I think he's starting like where just our motorsports is not a horrible program. So I think they get it together here. And I think he gets up into like top 15. I think he is going to be the surprise. So that's why I have him as a cash play. I think this is going to be the week. I think a lot of people are going to be jaded from him and overlook him. And I think this is the week.
I think there's going to be a lot of stars and scrubs approach to the slate. They're going to try to cram in a few of the 10K, 9K drivers and then all 6K value plays. So I think anyone in that 8K, 7K range is going to be a very cheap play to take a flyer on. Next up, we have Mason Massey, DGM 91. Your thoughts?
Starting too far forward.
Good call. Next up, we have Stephen Parsons.
He's not
PJ
even in the
McLeod.
DK pool.
No thanks. Riley Herbst.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting play to say. I think I like him over Alfredo. He just kind of blew a tire, cut it down, and hit the wall. I mean, that happens. You just throw your hands up when
Hard.
that happens.
Man, that was a hard hit.
Very hard hit. Yeah, but he was a high-owned play last week for everybody. I think it was just poor luck. I think he could be a decent low-owned option. Next up, we have Joe Groff Jr., 5,600 in the 07, 23rd starting.
He's failed to qualify some really good cars, and he's struggled. Like, wasn't it Cole Custer came and won in this car, and then he gets in it the next week and does absolutely nothing. So no faith in him, starting too far forward. Yeah. He's probably going to finish third to last.
Same. Definitely want to keep an eye out for practice to see if he has any speed, but I'm sure he will. But still, the driver is just not performing in this 07. They got to get someone better in that car. Next up, we have Myatt Snyder, Jordan Anderson, the 31. I think he's just going to be someone that hangs around the 20th spot every week.
Yeah, he did really well. Like at Daytona, he did have a 12th average running position, but I'm not super confident with it here.
Correct. Next up, we have JJ Yaley. Man, I like this play. 7K, not too expensive, but starting a little too far forward.
Yep, I agree.
Low owned if you're interested. Bailey Curry in the 4, 5,300. This would probably be the only car up here in this next couple of in this pocket that I would like to play solely based on the price.
Okay. I know you don't like Earnhardt, who's next, but he's in a Sam Hunt car, not.
Oh, that's right. He's got Sam Hunt. Okay.
Which is a decent car. And I maybe he's starting a little bit far forward. So like maybe I'll mark him down.
I don't know.
The GPP
6,400 is an awesome price tag on Earnhardt for Sam Hunt Racing's Toyota. That's a really good car. He's starting. Yeah, I could see that being a pretty chalky play, actually. I don't know. Your thoughts on Jeremy Clements starting 18th?
He's been solid on plate tracks. So I know he had a bad Daytona. His average running position was 34th, but I'm just going to discount that based on his whole body of work. Sure. So I think he can stay in the top 20. So I think he's okay for like a cash play. I definitely would prefer, some of the people from 25th on back more, but sure. He's someone that you can look at.
Okay. Next up, we have Alex LeBay in the 36th.
More Racing. Of a road course guy.
Right. I think he's starting too far forward. I love him in that 25th and back. But 6,800, not bad. I don't think he's going to have any upside at that price. Brett Moffitt, 7,800.
This might be a cash play. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know if I land on him. Sure.
I think it's a GPP still. He's one that definitely would be like a higher GPP play in my book, because like if I was building a specific tournament lineup, he's definitely someone that I would lock into that because he has the potential to be up in the top 10.
There you go. Sam Mayer in the 8,700, quite expensive. The youngster showed some promise last week, but ultimately did not finish well.
Just these JR Motorsports cars have been fast though. So if this turns out into a drag race more than a pack race, then I like him to get up there with his teammates and do some damage.
All righty. Next up, we have Austin Hill in the 8,500 in the 21. He's been awesome this year. Sheldon Creed. Austin Hill. Sorry, I was looking at Sheldon Creed.
We could talk about them both in the same breath. I think they're both like cash plays, but Hill won Daytona. Like Hill has really done well. He's had a couple wrecks, but they weren't really his fault. Creed has been a little bit more aggressive and taking himself out, but both cars looked really good at Daytona, really strong. You have some nice place differential here. So I
Yeah.
think that these are guys that you're going to want to potentially lock in with some of these lower guys to finish off your lineup, because there's so much. And if they rack, it doesn't hurt you as much as some of the guys that we're going to talk about above us.
All right. Next up, we have Jeb Burton. Probably going to be
Scary
out
being
on
the R,
January.
yeah.
Yeah. Just starting too far forward. I don't like the R Motorsports. Been burned. I have scars.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Brandon Brown, Brandon Built, Motorsports 7,900, starting 11th.
Yeah, it might be too far forward, but like 11th was average running at Daytona, and he's been solid this year. So I definitely see a top 15 for him. I think he's,
Yeah.
if he'd be like a GPP lineup.
Last guy in kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Landon Castle, no thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Third colleague car, it's not running well. Landon Castle's not driven it well either. Ryan Sieg, always the GPP play. 7,200 is a decent price tag, but man,
because he could get out there and lead like 20 laps in this, because he did a completely different, like he goes and pits 10 laps in before the competition caution, and then stays out there till his tires wear down. Everybody else catches up to him and passes him. But yeah, he's always a wild card.
Yep. And for that reason, he is a GPP play. Daniel Hemrick in the 11th, 9,700. I like the price tag, but man, we got a lot of heavy hitters up here already. Yeah. You think Hemrick's going to be the one to emerge?
No, I like Allmendinger above him. If anybody, he's good on plate tracks. So, a little bit of place differential there. So out of the top 10, like Allmendinger is the only one that I'm really looking at cash, because I mean, maybe Allgaier also at 6.
I was going to say, Allgaier is the Atlanta guy.
Yeah,
but
true.
This is a completely different track.
Okay, but yeah, let's give him a cash, because he does have some place differential. I think his experience and as a driver will negate like the newness, because I think he'll pick it up. But Bain, he's just getting back into the sport. He's been good. This car wasn't great at Daytona. This is the All-Star one. He could win this race, but I don't know if that really does much, because I don't think he's going to lead much laps or anything. Whereas I think Allgaier or Allmendinger actually leading laps. Ty Gibbs scares me because his aggressiveness and everything. This is something where somebody just accidentally nudges him and he's into the wall. I can't trust him in cash, or they're a great GPP play. Brandon Jones.
Yeah, he's one that benefits the most from the qualifying being impounded. Because typically he qualifies from like 8th to 12th, and he doesn't have a good start to the race, but now he's up front early on. He might be able to have a better opportunity to lead more laps in that 54. I want to see practice on this these top 8 drivers. I want to know where they are in their 10 lap averages, if they even run 10 laps, how they feel about their cars, what they're saying. So really that's what I'm looking for in practice, is how these top 8 perform, and then I'm going to start to give myself a better idea about a dominator potentially.
And then wrapping up pretty much the top 3 here, Brandon Jones, this just possibly could be his style track, but he's boomer bust also. It's like all or nothing with him. And there was a guy in the truck series who said the same thing about but that's just it. He's going to finish first, or he's going to finish 38th. Josh Berry, I like him, fast car and everything, but I don't know if he's going to be out there and actually dominate for like starting second. Like if he was starting anywhere like 10th to 15th, I would definitely have him as a cash play, but I can't do it at number 2. And Noah Grayson, again, starting first here. If this turns into a dominator race, that's why he's got to be like one of the top GPP plays to put in there. So, if you're building a GPP lineup, you go Grayson, Gibbs, and Brett Moffitt, and then whatever other 3 you want to throw in there. I think that would, in case it does turn into like a dominating race and they do trade on off. But I think you're going to see so many people lead different parts of this race here. But that's what we got.
Yeah, first starting position is risky, I think, because of that. You're going to have a lot. He could easily finish inside the top 5, though, lead laps. Like, he could be a part of the winning lineup, even from the first place position, if he doesn't dominate the race, because of how well he can finish races this year. Now, that being said, Gregson has the ability to either wreck someone or get wrecked. There's always that, that barrier between he and risk. So I think that'll wrap things up, Mega. Good job today on the trucks and Xfinity breakdown. We did our best here with the new track. We're looking forward to finding out what the new Atlanta holds for us. So this should be a good time. Thank you for listening, everyone. Please like this video. Comment below with any questions you may have. You can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. You can follow Mega at MegaRuler31. And follow us on Twitter at FSI_DFS. You can find the link to the Discord in that bio, and you can get all the updates throughout the day today. Maybe some projections if we can come up with some time. Core plays, absolutely. And good luck today in your lineup building endeavors.